Rob Pincus here. I want to talk to you about my new book, Defend Yourself, and it's listed as a comprehensive security plan for the armed homeowner. This book is really kind of cool. It's a new project for me. It's just been released within the last couple of weeks. And what's really unique about this book is that I teamed up with a publishing company. So instead of my other books you might be familiar with, Counter Ambush, Combat Focused Shooting, the Training Logbook, going all the way back to 2005 when we released the original Combat Focused Shooting book, I basically self-published those, right? I looked at all the options that were available. I bought a block of ISBN numbers and made the relationships with the printers and the layout and the design people and the copy editors and published those under my own ICE publishing company. And ICE publishing company has gone on to publish some books for some other people. But one of the unique things about the other books is that it's kind of just filled with words and ideas. There's some black and white pictures, a couple diagrams. Teaming up with a publisher, Gun Digest, in this case F&W Media, gave me the opportunity to really create what is honestly a much higher quality book. Now, of course, there's still a lot of good words and ideas in here, at least I think so, for someone who has a firearm and is interested in home defense information, or maybe somebody who's just interested in generic home defense information that is considering adding a firearm to their defense plan for themselves or their family. So the comprehensive guide to armed home defense, unlike some of my previous works, includes lots of pretty pictures. And Oleg Volk, a good friend of mine, someone who's known in the firearms industry, took a lot of these pictures, did a lot of great work. There's some great layout, great graphic design. There's call-outs, there's highlights, there's all kinds of cool catch your eye kinds of things, and make sure that you know what the latest, greatest, most important piece of information in any given chapter is. Now, if you get right into it and you start reading all the words, of course, I hope you think that they're all valuable. There's a feature, this is available at Amazon, and this is available at Kindle, this is available at icestore.us, my own online store, and a bunch of them are shipping out to retailers right now. I had a lot of contributors help me out with this book. So not only did Masad Ayub, obviously a legend in the training industry, agree to write a foreword, as did Brad Thor, New York Times best-selling author Brad Thor, someone who takes home defense and family defense very seriously. He's been a student of mine, a good friend of mine, and he writes in here a little bit about why this information is important, why you should check it out. We also have Grant Cunningham in here, who talked about revolvers for home defense. Ken Murray, author of Training at the Speed of Life, one of the reality-based training gurus of the industry, wrote about mindset. Craig Douglas, who's known primarily for his extreme close quarters stuff, but also teaches a great class on armed movement in structures. He contributed as well. So there's some great stuff from those guys. But I was, of course, the primary author, and I wanted to go ahead and just kind of do the look inside thing, just kind of flip through and see what we come up with. This particular chapter is talking about, well, moving through your house. And one of the little call-outs here with a Springfield XD with a holster and a paddle holster. In this chapter, one of the things I talk about is that if you anticipate going to get your firearm and needing to move through your home, one thing you might want to consider, especially if you're new to the idea of armed defensive training, is having a paddle holster staged with your defensive firearm, so that if you're going to be moving through your house, or if you have to carry your kids, you're not also trying to juggle a firearm in your hand. You're not walking through your house looking to see if there's good guys or bad guys. Obviously, your family members could be around the corner just as much as a bad guy could. And in fact, in most cases, it's probably more likely that it's your family member around the corner when something goes bump in the night than it is actually a threat, an intruder. So while you want to be ready, you don't want to have that firearm in your hand and obviously have a tragic mistake happen at most of the training levels that we deal with. Of course, the person who's going into the big box bookstore or ordering this online may not have a lot of extensive training moving around with a firearm in their hand. There's a high stress moment. They could get startled, scared by one of their family members, and we'd hate to have a tragic accident happen. So staging with a paddle holster is one of the things I recommend. See what else we got here. We've got loaded versus unloaded. When you store your firearm, of course, it's going to be unloaded, but there's a difference between just storing and staging. So staging your firearm is something that you do with a defensive firearm. You still need to make sure that there can't be accidents. You want to secure it from unauthorized persons, whether that's because of age, because of malicious intent. You need to make sure your firearm is secured in some way when it's staged, but that could simply mean hiding it inside of a secure home, or it could mean locking it in a quick access safe, but you're still going to have to deal with whether or not you load the gun or just simply store the gun, maybe with a loaded magazine next to it, and know that you're going to have to load it when you get ready for that home defense environment. There's a chapter 21, Beyond the Handgun. So we're talking about rifles and shotguns for home defense. go over an overview of what types of rifles, what types of shotguns are available to you, what make the best choices. Again, how to stage them and how you might use them. What are the advantages and disadvantages of the long gun in a home defense situation? So again, all kinds of stuff in here. Let's see, we'll take a look at the table of contents. And we've got home invasion, the tactics to survive, and that's the first 16 chapters. Hardware and other considerations, part 2, that's chapters 17 through 24. And then reality-based training, some information on what you do next, how you use this information, how you go through drills, how you maybe even go all the way to scenario training, and certainly communicate this with your family or other people that you may be sharing a dwelling with. And that's 25 to 29. So 29 chapters in all, plus an afterword, and like I said, there's some bonus sections in here. We do cover some of the firearms fundamentals, so if you are brand new to defensive shooting, we cover some of that information in here as well. But there's everything from security systems, locks, doors. We talk a little bit about dogs and the great advantage they can give you in your home defense plan. So defend yourself. Armed Home Defense, comprehensive guide, perfectly suited for someone who hasn't thought about any of this stuff, but I also think that people who've been training with their firearms, maybe have their concealed carry permits, maybe even have been students or read the counter ambush book, the combat focus shooting book, maybe some people who read Lessons from Unarmed America that I wrote with Mark Walters and were inspired by some of the lessons to be learned here from things that happen to other people to get into home defense. Again, I hope this book offers something for everybody, and naturally I look forward to your feedback. So if you get a chance to read it, a review at the Amazon site, review at the Kindle site, or a review at icestore.us would be greatly appreciated, and look forward to hearing from people over the next months, weeks, years about things they got out of my new book, Defend Yourself.